Hello and welcome to the broadcast. It is so good to have you with us today. I want to welcome you, whether this is your first time or a regular viewer, and I want to encourage you to stay all the way to the end with us. We want to pray for you. Today is very special on this broadcast. Once again, Kamal Saleem is with me, and we're going to continue our discussion. Kamal, it is so good always to be with you.
It's honor being with you, Pastor Mark.
And, you know, I don't know if we covered this, but we go way back. Your
Yes.
family was a part of Church for All Nations in 1996.
We're still part of this.
You are,
church,
just in a different location.
That's right. And we did it on purpose so they would not love us to death.
Yeah, yeah, and it was actually after the publication of this book that you relocated.
That's correct.
And your book, The Blood of Lambs, a former terrorist memoir of death and redemption. We've talked up to the point of about 8 years old. You said something very fascinating. Basically, they don't celebrate birthdays like we think of birthdays in America. And so your concept of time, but we have talked up to the point where you fell into the hands of the Muslim Brotherhood. Your own family, your own father, your own mother rejected you, but they embraced you.
Right.
And they turned you into something that you probably never imagined.
Yeah, Muslim Brotherhood it's an organization to establish Sharia worldwide.
And what is Sharia? Just for our
Sharia
viewers.
is the constitution of Islam, and it's made from three parts. So the top of it, it's a pyramid, upside down pyramid, and the reason that is because the top, the bottom is rooted in Sirah, which is the biography of Muhammad, and that is the one part, and then the second one is the Hadith, which is the Proverbs of Muhammad, what he said, his Proverbs. And the top layer up there, it's Allah, what Allah sent to Muhammad. But since everything, so Sharia, it has to adjudicate through what Muhammad said and what Allah said. But if Muhammad didn't do it, then it would not adjudicate. So everything what Muhammad did not say, but he lived his life, so they take that in, and that is rooted in jihad. 99% of his life biography is rooted in jihad. So in Islam, you could not please Allah without jihad. While in Christianity, without faith, you could not please God without faith. In Islam, you could not please Allah without jihad.
And I want to bring this up for the sake of our viewers. So basically, we talked about previously that, man, Muslim people are some of the most peaceful, loving people, kind. I've had meals with Muslim people. They've actually come to our church before. And I think of them more as cultural Muslims. But what we're talking about is down at the very core of Islam. Jihad is inseparable from that core. Would that be accurate?
In Islam, the radical remnant control the majority, because the majority don't want to fight, they want to die, they don't want to go ahead on the street and bomb people. They want to live good life. They want to send their children to school. They want to have normal life, that they have future. But the radical, they have to establish, it's not about what your future is. It was what Muhammad called us to do, and destroy humanity until we control everything.
And you were raised in a large Sunni Muslim family, but you were not one of what we would think of as a peaceful. You were a radical. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was very radical. My brothers are radical too, but I was super radical, where I instilled fear in a radical heart. My job was to really rally the people, and if you are not going to be one of us, then you have to disappear, because if we find you, we have to do something to you. So I took all these people to go to war. That's what my job was.
So you didn't do 9 to 5 working at a local department store or anything. You, from your first terrorist mission, was at 7 years old.
Yes.
And then when you fell into the hands of the Muslim Brotherhood, I mean, just going back to your testimony here, basically you became a
Culture jihadi.
cultural jihadist. You understood weapons and martial arts and the whole
I can go
gamut.
to any country and start, training people, creating, like, like when I went to Europe, for example. We needed to do a stealth jihad over there, and the culture jihad begun. I was in England, and we were chaptering all over Europe. So I had to go to be part of university. I was part of Oxford University. I went to Queen's College, but I did not go to study. I went over there to recruit. So you find all these young Muslim, you're always looking for a delusional person. And the way you do this is the way, when you start preaching in the mosque, you see who's listening to you and who want to stay in there. And you are always looking for that orphan boy, because I came from orphan spirit, so I'm looking for an orphans, and these are the one you can recruit. And now you can lead them into whatever, and you can train them in a culture jihad, in weapon, in self-defense or whatever, so you can just pour into their life, and now they feel very special because you become an article very special to them. So you really have to go into their psychic, and change that from inside out.
Now, I want to get to the point where how did someone with your background, and again, I want to recommend the book, The Blood of Lambs, a former terrorist memoir of death and redemption, which this tells the story. It's a fascinating book. It reads like a movie. And how did someone like you come to know Jesus of Nazareth and be truly born again?
So I was sent to the United States of America after I was sent to Afghanistan. From Afghanistan, I had an encounter with American soldiers, and their strength was not in their ability how to use weapon or radars or whatever. These people were not fighting at that time. They were just helping us. They send them to us so we will know how to fight the Russians. And I was sent to teach people how to shoot heat-seeking missiles, with SAM-7, shoulder rocket launcher. And so with that, the American people said, you don't have to die, Kamal, because that day I was going to go and, martyr mission and shoot, the bombers, Russian bomber. And that day they protect me, taking me in, and they brought me out, me and my group. So we shot the bomber,
Can I divert here a minute? Because
Yes,
I'm
yes.
just got so many things. In your life, this is what's fascinating because you're a miracle. When, you told me, we've had a lot of lunches together, a lot of fellowship, a lot of coffee time together. And one of the things you said as a young Muslim boy, and even your mother, at 4 years old, you're at your mother's side at the table, and she's teaching you then that your destiny was to die
Die for the
killing
sake of Allah.
for the sake of Allah.
And yet I survived every mission. And this man in white clothing will come and help
That's
me
what I
time
wanted to get to.
after
Who
time.
was this man in white clothing? There were these times, you've told me some crazy stories. One time in a building, I think you're in Beirut, and something grabbed you and pulled you back.
Yes, so I went to the building and I went to high riser. It was still built, and then we went to the civil war in Lebanon. So I took 250 cannon, a 250 millimeter, which it's a big cannon, and I took 6, rockets with me, and I was climbing up, I was strong. It's very heavy. It's a couple hundred pounds, so I was running all the way to the top, and here I'm putting my sandbags, and I'm putting the cannon so I can shoot into the Christian territory.
This is Beirut?
Beirut, yes. And as I'm doing this, I'm putting the station at the right place. It fell forward, and it pulled me with it. And I was about to fall from the building. I'm holding to it, and I don't want to let go of it, and I'm holding to this, and now I'm falling. And I was going to die because I was...
How far up were you?
I was probably 30 floors, 40, somewhere in that area. I can't remember exactly. But this man came out of nowhere, and he ran, and he said, "Whoop, I got you." And he pulled me by the collar of my, and then I'm going like, my heart left me that day. My spirit left me immediately. But when he grabbed me in and he pulled me in like this, I was still in place, between life and death. And I looked at him, I saw him running, just walking away from me, and he disappeared. Again, I'm going like, so my brain was between life and death. That was very unique.
And, I've heard these testimonies, that, well, people that we know, minister friends, preacher friends that walked anything but with the Lord, and there was angelic intervention. I don't know if we'll ever know this side of eternity. It always seems to come, somebody prayed, somebody was believing God for you. Is there anybody that you think before you ever had any concept of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that maybe have prayed for you?
Well, I used to have dreams. I had Christian friends at school when I was young, and I start sneaking to schools at night. I want to learn English. I love the language, and so it was, and then one day I saw this movie, Jesus Christ, how he was crucified and what so have you. It really affected me that day.
Were you a young boy?
I was very young, yes. So I started crying.
Really?
I went into travail. I don't know what travail is, because I thought, why would they kill an innocent man that he didn't do anything? I saw the whole movie because we had a TV, and our Christian neighbors want to watch the movie, so they came to our home and we sat down and watched it. And I ran away so nobody will see me crying. And that's what my mom saw, that pure heart in me all this time, that I will die for the sake of Allah. Unlike my other brothers, because they have motive in life, I don't. I have only one thing, God. And so I loved God, and I want more, but God was putting food, pieces of breadcrumb throughout my life to say I'm this way.
So what I'm hearing, because something just hit me, that blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So you had a real hunger for the Lord, or
I
for
did.
God, but you didn't know the
I
gospel.
always loved God. I never lived, I was never a heathen to come against God. I believe there's not just a God, but that people should die for God, should do things for God, because He is an amazing God. He gave me life. I wake up in the morning and I move my fingers when I was a little boy, and I'm going, wow, I can move my hand. Wow, I can think. Wow, and my dad says I'm this and that and the other, and my brothers laugh at me because I was so unique, and then I start, thinking. My thoughts took me a deeper place where I want to know this God who made me.
Those stories that you've told, like the thing in Beirut there where you almost fell off that tall building, and I've heard so many others, even before people know the Lord, either somebody prays, there's something that releases the angelic ministry that are sent to be those that'll be heirs of salvation. And
I was reading Psalms 56 today, and God, God was speaking, and He said, beside the Jews, I have other people that I'm bringing in. And so God was speaking about the other people, these people that they never were Jews, and that God is going to graft them in. He's going to bring them in. And so many times I believe, because the more I think about it, I'm going like, I think your destiny make a place for you in your life. Because before God created us, and He created us in eternity, He predestined us to do something for Him. And I think I was going toward this. But how will I know where I am today if I don't know where I came from? To tell people, be careful, because that's what we're dealing with. And then not just that, but how can I tell people that God loved them too? And this is what we need to do. So I have to come from that perspective to say the worst of the worst. For example, look at Saul. Saul the terrorist. He understood everything that he was when the Philip, stoning took place, and or Stephen, and
he was consenting to
yes,
his death.
and then he was going to kill more Christians, and God got hold of him. I was sent to the United States of America to do culture jihad, which is change the culture from within to infiltrate your colleges, your politicians, your poor neighborhood, your jail system, all these things that, that makes America. and we are watching the church. Every place the church evacuated, we came and filled in. So we are welcomed by the church. Hey, we left the place for you to come inhabit it. So we came to fill in those places, and now I'm moving to the United States of America, and I have a car wreck. And so many times it's amazing that we look at the situation as curses, but sometimes God is trying to get our attention to say, be still and know that I'm God. I'm doing something new in your life.
And this is what I wanted to get to, because here is Kamal Saleem, a warrior, not casual believer in Islam, a radical warrior. Your family saw it in you.
Yes.
But okay, so you come to America to wage cultural jihad, and you hate America, you hate Israel, and now all of a sudden you have a car wreck. Tell us what happened from there.
I hate Judaism. I hate Christianity. My cousin is the Grand Mufti of Lebanon. He's the Holy of Holy. He's the Pope of Islam in Lebanon. And so here I am, and all this happening, and I have a car wreck, and it was convertible, and I ejected out of my car wreck, flying about 6 feet up in the air, falling upside down, cracking my neck in two places, my collarbone, my rib cage busted. This whole side was just, devastated. And I cried, Allah, where are you? And Allah didn't say anything. And this man came running to me, and he said,
This was at the scene of the crash.
yes, scene of the crash. He said, my brother is chasing the other car that caused the one to cut in front of me. And because that day, I was broadsided by an 18-wheeler, and so my car just literally almost exploded, twisted like this, two pieces. And he said, my brother is chasing the other car, and he said, but son, I'm here. We're going to take care of you, and everything's going to be all right. Do you hear me? He was assuring me that he's going to take care of me and everything's going to be all right. He said it 2-3 times. And I fell in a mud hole when I ejected out of my car, and he took his T-shirt off and he started drying the mud out of my face. And I was going, who is this man and how he's going to take care of me? He doesn't know who I am. And now I'm worried about being discovered, because that's your identity. You don't want anybody to know who you are. Because in a Muslim world, what they say in the American Army, no man left behind. They always bring their men. In our world, if you cut, you have to find your way home, and if you die, you die without telling what's happening. So here I am. I'm going like, the first thing is to protect these people, that I'm with, because I was a leader of a cell group, and so here I am. I go to the hospital, and the orthopedic surgeon, he's reading my chart. He said, you have no friends, you have no family, you have no address, you have no home, you're a French citizen, you're this, that, and the other. And he said, son, we're going to take care of you, and everything's going to be all right. The second time, and that resonated with me because they keep saying it. And I didn't understand what they were saying. I wake up in a hospital, and now the head of physical therapy, a doctor of physical therapy, he came and he read my chart, and he said, dude, you're in deep doo-doo. He really said it like this. I never forgot it, and I'm going like, I call him Sherlock, and because he said, son, we're going to take care of you, and everything's... The third time, we came to measure your nation and to know your infrastructure, your weaknesses, your strength. We knew where your electric grid is, where your water purification system is, where your generals live, where your senators, your governor, where your school system is, which school have more kids than other, which school is Christian, and every Jewish person that live in the area, we knew who they are and where they are and how to find them. Because when a 0 hour come about, we know what to hit first.
What is 0 hour?
0 hour is the green light to say, now it's this group, wait, it's when we want to sell awake and become radical with machine guns and stuff.
We'll talk about that more detail later. So here you find yourself in the hospital. How did you actually come to know the Lord?
The first guy on the street that came to help me, he's a businessman. He came to visit me. The orthopedic surgeon came to visit me that day, and they ran at each other. and they're hugging each other and telling each other, I love you. I was going, oh my Allah. These are not just Christians, they're foofy Christians. They just have issues.
They got a problem, huh?
And the third guy walked in, the head of physical therapy, and he ran at them and they're hugging each other. They belong to a Christian businessman organization somehow. I didn't know what it was at that time. So now they were fighting. They said the hospital is going to discharge him, and who's going to take me home because I'm not able yet to walk. So I was on all just wrapped all the way around with hard stuff, all over, and the physical, they had the orthopedic surgeon won the case, and he took me home, and now my home was going totally different direction.
So he took you into his own home, and he
Yes.
had a family.
Oh, he had 3 kids, 2 boys and a daughter, and his wife.
And they have no idea who is in their home.
But they know one thing. They know their God is an amazing God. They were operating with the gift of their belief, and I was operating in the gift of my belief. So therefore, I was in their home. They put me in their choicest room. It's called a guest room. And now I was sleeping on a bed. I never slept on a bed like this before. I always slept on the floor. You just put a rug and you put a pillow, whatever, and you're done. This one it has feather in it. I'm going, whoa, this is what heaven will be like. We thought that God gave you heaven on earth, and you're going to go all to hell afterwards. And we're going to hell on earth, and later on we'll go to heaven because we suffered so much. That's how the teaching was by the imams. So here I am, and 3 kids climb on the bed, and they start calling me, welcome home, Uncle Kamal. And I was looking at them because I have to see them through the perspective of my belief, and I call them monkeys, get out of my bed. Because Christian and Jews are monkeys and pigs to us. That's what Allah called them. Allah called them so we believe that, and it was easy for us to kill because they're not real human. Who taught Hitler all these things that killed the Jews is the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Hajj al-Amin al-Husseini. He said they're not human. You have to dehumanize them, and then you can kill them. So it was taught by a Grand Mufti of Jerusalem to Hitler. And he raised him 2 regiment, Muslim SS regiments. They killed more Jewish people than the entire SS group of the German army. But you have to understand that when Allah is painting this and Muhammad saying this and he's warring, and now we become delusional kids and we have no idea where we're going, and this is the way to life. So now the only way, and here's the only thing, the only guarantee you can go to heaven is to die for Allah as a martyr.
So how did you get to the point of receiving the true and the living God?
So now I'm their home, and these men would come once a week, and there are about 60 of them, and they pray together. They talk about their issues, about their addictions, about their needs, about their finances, and they help each other. I've never seen anything like this, and the Muslim world doesn't exist like this. And they open a big basket that says for Kamal Saleem, and they were forgiving me. They're putting checks and cash to forgive my debts, But then one day they said, you can go home, Kamal. And they gave me the keys to the house. And they have one new key up there, and they said, we bought you a car to replace your old car. And it was just magnificent car. So I'm going like, wow. So I was all alone falling in love what I was living with them. I saw that these people believe their religion, but the scary part, their God speaks to them. They ask God for something, and God manifests in miracles. I'm seeing miracles, and I'm seeing unconditional love. I never understood what love was, because love is a lie. Love is you use for other people. Once you're done with them, you dump them. That's what love is. Love is a tool to manipulate. It's witchcraft. So so here, their unconditional love is they're putting their life on the line for your life. And that was too much for me. So the first time I saw, your God is something different, that He's tangible, He is powerful, He is God of His word, that what He promised. We have no miracles, we have no life. You know, if you call on Allah, nothing happens unless you kill yourself. That's the only guarantee you go to heaven. And so therefore, now they said, you're going to go home. I said, but I'm not ready to go home. I'm not feeling well yet. A couple more months, please. And then you can send me home, because I don't know what to do now. Everything changed in here. These people have Jewish friends too. They raise funds for Israel. And I'm so, just in that place. And I go home and I put my God to the point. Said, Allah, Rabbi wa Mawlay, if you are real, speak to me. These people, their God, speak to them, and He's having a relationship with them. I want to have a relationship with you too. If you're real, speak to me. And he did not say a word. I came to put a gun in my mouth and finish my story. And I heard a voice for the first time in my life. And he called me his son. He said, my son, Kamal, I am the God of Father Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. 3 times. He said this, he said, call on me. I fell on my knees and I cried out with a loud voice, God of Father Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, if you're real, speak to me. If you are real, I want to know you. The room was transformed. The voice dissipated, the one I heard, and the room was lit with the light of His glory. And a man stood there, and he has holes in his hands and his feet, and he's dressed in a white clothing, and he has a tallit on his shoulder, that he's a rabbi. And that was the man that saved me through life, time after time after time. And I looked at him, I said to him, who are you, my Lord? He said, Ana huwa, I am He. He spoke in Aramaic, and I understood it. I said, what is that supposed to mean? He said, I am the Aleph, I am the Tav, I'm the beginning, I'm the end. I have known you before I created the foundation of the earth. I have loved you before I formed you in your mother womb. Kum, arise, Kamal. When I rose up, my body was totally healed, and my heart and my mind were reformed.
And we're going to talk more about that in the next episode. Powerful story. The whole story is in the blood of lambs. I encourage you. Father, I thank you for this powerful testimony today. And in Jesus' name, I thank you, Lord. You are speaking to the people, and we give you the praise in Jesus' name. And there is a number on your screen. We've got people standing by. Visit Kamal Saleem's website. Get the book, The Blood of Lambs. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for watching this video, and be sure to explore more of my YouTube channel for more content like this. And if you want to learn more about what we do, or if you want to partner with us, be sure to visit my website at markcowart.org. May the Lord bless you richly.